Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Himami Bulqiyah ZamZam. I'm from class TBI2 and my ID number is T2019-6084. Okay, I want to give explanation about the theory from Jacobson, from Newmark, from Koller, and from Nida. The first, from Jacobson. Roman Jacobson, Nature of the Linguistic Meaning and Equivalence. Roman Jacobson, in his paper on linguistic aspect of translation, describes three types of translation. The first, intralingual and interlingual, and finally, intersemiotic. On the basis of semiotic approach to language and his aphorism, there is no signature without signum. He suggests three kinds of translation. The first is intralingual, or within one language, rewording or paraphrase, and the second is interlingual, or between two languages, and the third is intersemiotic, between systems. Jacobson claims that in the case of interlingual translation, the translator makes use of synonyms in order to get the ST message across. This means that in interlingual translations, there is no full equivalence between code units. According to this theory, translation involves two equivalence messages in two different codes. Jacobson goes on to say that from a grammatical point of view, languages may differ from one another to a greater or lesser degree. But this does not mean that a translation cannot be possible. In other words, that the translator may face the problem of not finding a translation equivalent. For example, at the level of gender, the level of aspect, or the level of semantic fields. In spite of this fact, Jacobson says that only poetry which needs creative transposition can be considered untranslatable. And then from Jacobson, linguistic meaning and equivalence signifier is the spoke, and addition signified is the concept. So to understand what is signified with word, we must have seen the concept or the experience the concept in real life. Equivalence in meaning, Jacobson claims that in the case of interlingual translation, the translator make as synonym in order to get the such text message. Linguistic universalism in converting language. Everyone has different thought process. Linguistic relativity, that the mother tongue will affect a person's thought process. Okay, next, theory from Newmark. Newmark makes a distinction between communicative and semantic translation, which is similar to Nida's dynamic equivalence. Communicative translation tends to create the same effect on the TT reader as that obtained by ST reader. Resembles Nida's dynamic equivalence. Semantic translation focus on the rendition of the contextual meaning of the ST according to the synthetic and the semantic characteristic of the TT, which is similar to Nida's formal equivalent. Next, theory from Koller. Koller proposed 5 types of equivalence: denotative, connotative, pragmative, textual, formal, and aesthetic equivalence. Koller mainly studies the examination of the relation between equivalence and correspondence. Equivalence refers to the equivalent items in both the ST and the TT based on language, while correspondence can be related to constructive analysis as a field of comparative linguistics based on parallel. And then, for the last, theory from Nida's. Nida's theory of translation was developed from his own practical work signed the 1940 when he was translating and organizing Bible translation. His theory to construct form into major works in the 1960 towards a science of translating towards a science of translating and theory and practice of translation. Meaning is broken down into linguistic meaning, borrow elements from Chomsky model, referential meaning, denotative meaning, dictionary, and emotive or connotative meaning. Parse, search text using surface. Parse, search text using surface structure. Then in the analysis of the target text, the idea is sought, and then that's what the translation is different by using linguistic rules, with the hope that the translation result do not shift the translation of the search text sentence. With Nida's approach, the rationale for modern translation science is laid out because with the steps of synthetic analysis, aspect of linguistic knowledge, semantic and stylistic decision making formulation are leisurely left to the intuition and expertise of the translator are not concluded scientifically. Such an understanding of language draws attention to the need for knowledge of the cultural context, which is language, and in which it retains its meaning. Understanding culture in terms of one's language as well as the such language is not important. Another consequence of this concept of language is that no translation can be final. I think enough from my explanation. Thank you for watching and see you on my next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.